A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News, coming to you live from the Newsfirst studios in Colombo. My name is Krishan Devasagayam. Tonight, we bring you updates on Sri Lanka's disaster management efforts, including the arrival of 100 Starlink systems from the United States, along with other important developments from across the country and the world. To start off, let's take a look at tonight's headlines.
Leadership and support will be given to rebuild the livelihoods of those affected from the weather disaster, a pledge from the President.
मूल्य विनයක් ආරක්ෂා කර ගැනීමේ ප්‍රතිඵල නිසා ජනතාවගේ ජීවිතය යථාවත් කර ගැනීම සඳහා සාධාරණ වන්දි මුදලක් ලබා දීමේ හැකියාව තියෙනවා.
Continuous operations in progress to restore the infrastructure of a fallen nation. Water supply fully restored. Extraordinary gazette issued, convening Parliament on the 18th of December. Sahana Yathra flood relief convoy continues its mission for the 16th day, giving hope to the nation. Police launch an internal investigation against the C for his handling the vehicle accident of MP Asoka Ranbala.
And in your first story tonight, President Anurukumara Dissanayaka says that the country could afford to pay large compensations to the recent disaster victims was a result of strict fiscal discipline being maintained by the government.
The coordination committee of the Puttlam district was held today under the patronage of the President.
90%ක්ම ඉස්සන් වගා කරන පොකුණු දැඩි විදියටම හානි වෙලා තියෙනවා. අස්වනු හානිය තමයි වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙන්නේ.
මුළුමනින්ම හානිය ගෙවන්න බැරි වීනේ අපිට යම් සාධාරණ වන්දියක් ගෙවලා අපි බැංකුව හරහා කතා කරලා යම් සහන ණය යෝජනා ක්‍රමයක්
ජනාධිපතිතුමා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේත් ඒක.
ඉස්සන් ව්‍යාපෘතිවල ව්‍යාපාරයෙන් පිරිසට බැංකුත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරලා දැනටමත් 2026 අවුරුද්දට බිලියන 80ක් විතර වෙන් කරලා තියෙනවා ව්‍යාපාරික ප්‍රජාවට අවශ්‍ය සහනය සලස්වන්න. ඒක තුලින් කොටසක් මේ වෙනුවෙන් වෙන් කරලා යම්කිසි සහන වැඩපිළිවෙලක් බැංකු පද්ධතිය හරහා කඩිනමින් ලබා දෙන්න වැඩපිළිවෙලක් අපි සූදානම් කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
The President instructed that compensation for crop damage be completed by the 25th of December. Reconstructing the district's damaged highways and bridges was also discussed.
මේ අවස්ථාව වෙන විට එකපාරක් කර සියලු මාර්ග යථා තත්ත්වයට එම නැත්නම් වාහන ගමනාගමනයට හැකිවන පරිදි සකස් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ ඉතුරුන පාර තමයි නයිනමඩම ඉරණවිල හලාවත මාර්ගය.
ඒකේ තත්ත්වය මොකක්ද?
අපි ඉන්දියානු රජයෙන් පරිත්‍යාග කළ පාලමක් එතෙන්ට ගෙනවිත් තිබෙනවා. අපිට ඒ පාලමක් මීටර් 50ක් දක්වා තමයි උඩරිම යන්න පුළුවන්නේ. මෙතන මීටර් 80කට ආසන්න ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙනවා. සති 4ක කාලයක් දෙන්න මේ පාලම ඉදිකිරීම කටයුතු කරන්න.
ලාවේ පාලම තියෙනවා. ප්‍රධාන පාලම.
වනජීවි කලාපය ඇතුලේ ප්‍රධාන පාලමක් තියෙනවා.
පාලම කැඩලා තියෙනවා.
වනජීවි කලාපයේ පරිහරණය සඳහා විතරක් නෙවෙයි, ඒවා පුත්තලමයි මන්නාරමයි ඒකාබද්ධ කරන පාරක්. නඩු තීන්දුවෙන් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන දේ තමයි ඒ කලාපය ඇතුලේ වැඩ කටයුතු වල විතරක් යූස් කරන්න, පොදු ප්‍රවාහනට පාවිච්චි කරන්න එපා කියන එක.
පාලමක් ඉදිකිරීමට අපි ගියාට පස්සේ මේ අධිකරණ තීන්දුවත් එක්ක අපිට ඒ කටයුතු ඉදිරියට කරගෙන යන්න බෑ.
අපි මේ පාලම ගැන හිතන්න ඕන ඒ නඩු තීන්දුවට යටත්ව. කැඩිලා තියෙන වැල් පාලම තියෙන එක හදන්න. ඒතර මගින්ට යන්න පුළුවන්. හරි ආය අවුරුද්දෙන් අවුරුද්ද මේ ගම් වතුරෙන් මේ ගහගෙන යන පාලමක් හදලා වැඩක් නැහෙනේ.
The President also inquired about the ongoing program to restore the water supply.
වනාතවිල්ල කෝස්සේ එක කැඩුනොත් වතුර සපයා ගැනීම අමාරු.
බාධා වෙලා තියෙන්නේ වතුර ගලාගෙන යනවා අපිට වතුර ඒම අඩුවක් තියෙනවා.
එහෙනම් අපි ඒක හදන්න ඕනේ. නඩු තීන්දුව බාධාවක් නැහැ අමුණ හදන එකට. ඔයගොල්ලෝ අමුණ හදන්නකෝ ජනතාවට කියන්න ගිහිල්ලා ප්‍රශ්නේ. ඒතර අමුණ හදන්න යනකොට කියනවා පාර ඕන කියලා පාර හදන්න යනකොට නඩු තීන්දුව එපා කියනවා. පටලවන්න එපා. එකතු වෙලා වැඩ ඉවර කරන්නකෝ. 4 දින පොඩ්ඩක් හම්බ වෙනවද මේක ඉවරලා. පාලම කතාව පැත්තකින් තියන්න, කෝස්සේ එක හදන්න, අමුණ හදන්න.
The President instructed officials to prioritize restoring the livelihoods of those affected.
ඊළඟ අපිට තියෙන්නේ මේ ජනතාවගේ ජීවනෝපාය මාර්ගය සකස් කළ දෙන එක. ඒක ගොවිතැනේ යෙදෙන ජනතාව නම් ආපහු ඒගොල්ලෝ කුෂ්කර්මාන්තයට ගෙනියන්න ඕන. සත්ත්ව පාලනයේ යෙදෙන ජනතාව නම් ඒගොල්ලෝ යලි සත්ත්ව පාලනයට ගෙනියන්න ඕන. දීවර රස්සාවේ යෙදෙන ජනතාව නම් ඒගොල්ලෝ යලි දීවර රස්සාවට ගෙනියන්න ඕන. සුළුව මධ්‍ය පරිමාණ කර්මාන්තවල ඉඳලා හිටියන ඒවා යලි පටන්
affected people. Farming communities should be redirected to agriculture, livestock owners to animal husbandry, and fishermen to their trade. Those involved in small and medium enterprises should be supported to restart their businesses. This is how we can return to normalcy. Next, we need to build new houses for those whose homes were completely destroyed. Compensation has already been decided, and we must plan house construction after identifying suitable land. Instead of giving individual houses, launching 2 or 3 projects to provide ownership of houses worth 5 million each could be more effective. The 5 million allowance must be used specifically for building houses and distributed in phases. This disaster struck at a time when our economy was still recovering. Despite this, strong fiscal discipline allowed us to provide fair compensation and restore livelihoods. We must maintain this discipline while ensuring aid reaches those who need it the most.
යම් සාධාරණ වන්දි මුදලක් ලබා දීමේ හැකියාව තියෙනවා. ඒක තියෙන්නේ මූල්‍ය විනය නිසා. ඒ නිසා අපි මේ සියල්ල කරන්න ඕන ආධාර ලැබිය යුතු කෙනාට ආධාර ලැබෙන ගමන් අපි තබාගත යුතු මූල්‍ය විනය ඒ විදිහටම රැක ගන්න.
Meanwhile, the president has instructed that dry rations be provided for 1 week to fishing families who, although not affected by the floods, are unable to engage in their fishing activities. Now, taking a look at a key development in disaster management, 100 Starlink communication systems from the United States have arrived in Sri Lanka. The units will help authorities coordinate relief and reach remote communities affected by recent cyclones, floods and landslides more efficiently.
In the efforts of rebuilding Sri Lanka, the energy is channeled to support the people, businesses who were affected by the cyclone, the floods and the landslides in an efficient manner, allowing them to get back with their lives as early as possible, as soon as possible. In order to address that and for the plea that the government made and the request that we made, we have received another consignment of Starlink communication units from America. The donation was already received into Sri Lanka, and the customs is engaging in facilitating the necessary clearance process in order to hand over those units to the disaster management center as early as possible to facilitate easier communication, to reach out and understand the requirements of respective divisional secretariats and the faraway districts which are still having some of the challenges in terms of communications. It's a lengthier process, longer process, but the support that we are getting will make that journey that much easier to reach out to people, to provide the facilities and to meet their requirements in a swift manner. Our objective is to further strengthen the mechanism to share this information as early as possible. What are the amounts of funding that we are receiving? All the money that we are receiving is collected to the treasury, and through the treasury the disbursement will be made, and those disbursements will be channeled through necessary institutional framework that we have and the engagement of divisional secretariats. As of now, the actual amount of disbursements have exceeded 13,000 million rupees, or more than 13 billion rupees have been disbursed by the treasury based on the approvals, supplementary budgets that His Excellency the President proposed, and it was subsequently approved by the Parliament. Through that mechanism, over 13 billion rupees have been disbursements are being made to make sure information is shared quickly, data is collected quickly, and the donations, goods and financial donations that we are receiving are provided and handed over to the communities and individuals as early as possible.
An extraordinary Gazette notification has been issued summoning Parliament to convene on the 18th of December. At the request of Prime Minister Harinyamirasuriya, Surya, Parliament will meet on Thursday, 18th December at 9:30 a.m. The Gazette has been officially issued by Speaker Dr. Jagath Vikramaratne. Moving on to more local news, the reconstruction of all infrastructure damaged by the disaster, including houses, bridges, roads and railway lines, is being carried out continuously. A large number of people, including government officials, members of the tri-forces, police, private sector personnel and volunteers from across the country are working tirelessly day and night on this task with a single goal: to restore the nation as quickly as possible.
Across the Badula district, a massive reconstruction operation is underway to restore 1 1,020 damaged irrigation systems and provide water to Maha-season cultivations. Yesterday, as part of this effort, the reconstruction of the damaged Kandakatiya Badulu Oya irrigation system was carried out in collaboration with officials from Hambantota, Matara, Ratnapura and Badula districts, members of the Department of Civil Defence, representatives of local agrarian organizations and local residents. The Badula Oya project supports approximately 1,750 acres of farmland and around 5,000 families. This flagship initiative aims to restore the damaged irrigation channels within 14 days, supplying water to Maha-season cultivations and revitalizing the agricultural sector. In the Nochiagama Divisional Secretariat Division, several roads that had been submerged, including the Munasinghagama Access Road, have begun reconstruction. The repair of damaged roads was carried out by officials and staff of the Nochiagama Pradeshia Sabha together with local residents. A group of volunteers repaired the Badulla Dunuvangia Bari Ala Road, which had been damaged by the disaster from the Bibila area. The Gampula Kurunduvatta main road was hit by a landslide. Officials from the Road Development Authority have commenced their repair work on these roads. On the Kaduganava Peradeniya railway line, the section near Nallapitiya Henawala was also affected by a landslide recently. Officials from the Department of Railways have begun clearing the debris at the site. A section of the Hatton-Norton Bridge collapsed in the Castle area, disrupting vehicular movement. The Sri Lankan Security Forces and the National Development Authority have jointly constructed a temporary steel bridge to restore vehicular movement.
Now, the government is taking steps to revive the tourism industry following the recent disaster. Here's a closer look at those efforts.
The current government has given top priority to reviving the tourism industry. To achieve this, the government has taken various measures over the past period, and a noticeable growth in the tourism sector has been observed. As of the 7th of December, the number of tourists who had arrived in the country stood at 2,146,922. By November this year, the tourism industry had generated revenue of $2,910 million. Although the impact of Cyclone Ditwa affected several tourist destinations, including Nuwara Eliya, these areas are now rapidly returning to normal. Meanwhile, disrupted highways and railway lines are being repaired, and most roads have already been reopened for traffic. This was the situation in Nuwara Eliya today. Meanwhile, the surfing season has begun along the southern coastline. A large number of tourists can be seen engaging in surfing activities in areas such as Ahangama, Kabalana and Baligama during these days.
මේ වෙරළ තීරයට විශාල ගණනින් සංචාරකයන් පැමිණෙනවා මොකද මේ වෙරළ තීරය ඉතාමත් පිරිසිදු දිගු වෙරළක්. සංචාරකයන් එන්නේ සර්ෆින් ක්‍රීඩාව නිසා. මොකද හැම වෙරළකම සර්ෆින් ක්‍රීඩාව කරන්න බෑ. This called Kabalana Beach in Ahangama, and there's a surfing sport, and this month is less people now, so there is still good waves, and we are welcome to tourists in Kabalana and Mirisha and Waligama.
Deputy Minister of Tourism Ruwan Ranasinghe expressed his views on reviving the tourism industry at a media briefing held today.
In the short term, we have managed this disaster very effectively, especially in relation to the tourism sector. Just 2 days after the disaster, a large passenger cruise ship carrying around 2,000 passengers arrived at the Colombo port. Tomorrow, another similar cruise ship carrying a large number of tourists will arrive in Colombo and Galle. At present, arrivals from Europe have recovered very well. So in the short term, we have managed the situation extremely well. In the long term, this crisis presents a good opportunity for us to move towards a sustainable tourism industry by systematically protecting tourist attractions, safeguarding the environment and enhancing tourism experiences. We believe this crisis has created that opportunity for us.
During a natural disaster, the most critical supplies to be affected are basic human necessities. How quickly essential services such as water, electricity, food and transportation are restored determines the speed at which a country and community can recover and rise above the disaster. What is the latest status of restoring water supply damaged by the disaster? The water supply that was disrupted across the island due to the disaster has now been fully restored to 100%. Chairman of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, Chandana Bandara, stated that if household water connections were damaged as a result of the disaster, they will be repaired free of charge. The estimated damage incurred by the National Water Supply and Drainage Board due to the disaster is estimated at 5.6 billion rupees. What is the latest status of power restoration? In the wake of the recent disaster, electricity supply disruptions affected 4.1 million consumers across the island. The Ceylon Electricity Board says that 99% of the disrupted power supplies have now been restored. Its Deputy General Manager, Noel Priyantha, said that efforts are still underway to restore electricity to 26,000 consumers in the central and Uva provinces. He also stated that all damaged transmission systems have now been fully restored. What is the progress of reconstruction of damaged roads? Meanwhile, the Commissioner General of Essential Services, Prabhat Chandrakirti, said that 292 out of 293 main roads under the Road Development Authority that were damaged due to the recent disaster have now been reopened for traffic. He added that 15 out of 42 major bridges have also been restored for public use. What is the progress in restoring hospitals and health services? Chandrakirti further noted that around 90% of the country's 236 hospitals damaged by the disaster have now been restored. Operations at the Mahiyangane Base Hospital, which was damaged by the disaster, were restored yesterday. Accordingly, the Indian Medical Assistance Team that had been providing mobile medical services there departed yesterday. Meanwhile, operations at the Chilao District General Hospital have also resumed. The Japanese medical team, which provided services until the hospital was restored, concluded its mission today and departed from Chilao. Following the impact of Cyclone Ditwa in recent days, the Chilao General Hospital was inundated with floodwaters. As a result, a Japanese emergency disaster medical relief team arrived in Sri Lanka to support healthcare services in the area and set up a special field hospital camp at the Chilao police grounds. From the time the camp was launched on the 4th of December until today, the Japanese relief team continuously provided medical care to thousands of residents in the Chilao area.
එම අපි සියලුම දෙනාම හදවතින්ම ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා ජපානයේ මෙම වෛද්‍ය කණ්ඩායමලත් ඒ අදාළ නිලධාරී මණ්ඩලයටත්.
A lot of people supported our operations in Chilao and I truly appreciate all of them. Next.
I hope that Sri Lanka recover further with trust and bond between Sri Lanka and Chile. අද අපේ ජපාන් වෛද්‍ය සාන කණ්ඩායමේ කඩවුරේ වැඩසටහන අන්තිම දවස් අපි මේ කඩවුර ඉවත් වෙලා 16 වෙනිදා ජපානට ආපස් යනවා. කලාවත මහලෝකලේ තත්ත්වය දිනෙන් දින හොඳට පත් වෙනවා. ආපද ආශ්‍රිත රෝගීන් අනුපාතය ගොඩක් අඩුවෙමින් සිටිනවා. මේ වැඩසටහනේ ජපාන් සහ ශ්‍රී ලංකා මිත්‍ර සබරතාව ශක්තිය වෙනවා කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා.
The government's 25,000 rupee allowance for cleaning houses damaged by the disaster was distributed today as well in several areas across the country.
The 25,000 rupee allowance provided by the government to clean and rehabilitate houses damaged by floods and landslides was distributed to homeowners to help them return to their homes. This is how the distribution of the 25,000 rupee allowance to disaster-affected families was carried out in Uva Paranagama. Under the supervision of the Uva Paranagama Divisional Secretary, the allowances were distributed at the village level by Grama Niladhari officers in their respective divisions.
අපිට මේ 25000ක ආධාරයක් ලබා දීම අපි තාමත් ගෞරවයෙන් බාර ගන්නවා. ඒ පිටියක් කඩාගෙන වැටුණා.
ඉතින් අපි දෙන්නම බේරුණා එදා රාත්‍රියේ පහුවදා නිලධාරි මහතුරු කීප දෙනෙක් ගිහිල්ලා අපේ නිවස ෆොටෝ ගහගෙන අපට 25000ක ආධාරයක් දුන්නා. ඒ ගැන මා බොහොම සන්තෝෂ වෙනවා සියලු දෙනාටම.
Today, the 25,000 rupee allowance was also distributed to families in the Galigamur Divisional Secretariat Division affected by the disaster, including Holambua, Alabala, Nadeniya, Atugoda and Kiridana Grama-Niladhari divisions. The 25,000 rupee allowance was also distributed at the Gampula Divisional Secretariat premises.
In your weather forecast now, the Department of Meteorology warns that some areas in the Kalutara, Ratnapura, Gaul and Mathura districts may experience heavy showers accompanied by severe lightning in the coming days. Rainfall may occur in the northern, north central, eastern, over, central and northwestern provinces. The Department of Meteorology warns that in the eastern slopes of the central hills as well as in the northern, north central and northwestern provinces, including the districts of Trincomalee, Hambantota and Munaragala, strong winds of between 30 to 40 kilometers per hour may occur at times. Meanwhile, landslide red alerts remain in effect for 10 divisional secretariat divisions in the Kandy and Kurunagala districts. In the Kandy district, red alerts are active in the central Dumbara, Pahata Dumbara, Ganga Ihela Korale, Doluwa, Panvila, Deltota, Ududumbara, Minipe and Udapalata divisional secretariat divisions. Meanwhile, in the Kurunagala district, an evacuation red alert has been issued for the Ridigama divisional secretariat division. In addition, landslide warnings remain in effect for the Badulla, Gampaha, Kegol, Mathale, Nuwara and Ratnapura districts. The National Building Research Organization has identified 150,000 families living in areas that are at risk of landslides.
නායෑමට ලක්විය හැකි ප්‍රධාන දිස්ත්‍රික්ක 6යි ඊට යාබද දිස්ත්‍රික්ක 8යි. එතකොට අපි ගත්තොත් දල වශයෙන් දිස්ත්‍රික්ක 14ක් නායෑමට ලක්විය හැකි ප්‍රදේශ අඩංගු දිස්ත්‍රික්ක තියෙනවා. ලංකාවේ භූමි ප්‍රමාණය ගත්තොත් 30ක ප්‍රමාණයක්. එම භූමි ප්‍රමාණය තුළ 35කට වඩා ජන ප්‍රතිශතය ජීවත් වෙනවා. සහ ඒ ප්‍රමාණාත්මකව ගත්තොත් වර්ග කිලෝමීටර් 20000කට වැඩි.
The Sirasa Shakti Sahana Yathra, driven by the people and for the people, is providing relief to our citizens whose lives and properties were damaged by the sudden disaster. Today, the mission continued its operation for the 16th day to support disaster-affected communities in recovering and rebuilding.
During the recent cyclone Ditwa, while much of the country faced heavy rainfall and landslides, there were also communities in the Battalangundua and Uchamunai islands in the Kalpitia Peninsula that endured the disaster without flooding, but still faced significant hardship. To provide relief to the fishing communities whose homes were damaged by the cyclone, the Sirasa Shakti Sahana Yathra set out last evening from the MTB MBC head office premises to reach these islands. The mission received full support from the Sri Lanka Navy in navigating through the waters, with officers stationed at the Kalpitia and Battalangundua naval bases assisted in the distribution of aid, which continued until early morning.
හේතුවෙන් අපගේ මේ ග්‍රාමයේ මේ දූපත ලොකු බලපෑමකට ලක් වුණා. අපගේ දීවර ජනතාව ගොඩක් අසරණ වුණා. ලොකු ස්තුතියක් කරනවා සිරස සහන යාත්‍රා. ඒ කණ්ඩායම අපි ළඟට ඇවිල්ලා මේ විදිහට උදව් අපිට සලසනවා.
They also visited the Mahiyangana Base Hospital, which had suffered severe damage due to flooding recently. Essential supplies, including bedding, drinking water and medical equipment, were provided to the hospital's emergency treatment unit.
මහියංගන රෝහලේ බාහිර රෝගී අංශය හදිසි ප්‍රතිකාර ඒකකයේ කියන ඒකක දෙක හැර ඉතුරු සියලුම රෝහල යටවීමකට ලක් වුණා ගම් වතුර නිසා. ඉතින් මේ වෙනකොට අපි නැවත රෝගී සත්කාර ආරම්භ කරමින් පවතිනවා.
ඒ කාලයේදී ඔයගොල්ලන්ගෙන් මේ ලැබුණු සහයෝගය ගොඩක් වටිනවා. ඒතොර අද විශේෂයෙන්ම අපිට ලැබුණා අපේ ICU බෙඩ් එකක්. ඒක අපි ලබා දෙන්නේ අපේ palliative care අංශයට. ඒ කියන්නේ පිළිකා වගේ රෝග තත්ත්ව හින්දා ගොඩක් අසාධ්‍යව ගොඩක් දුක් විඳින රෝගීන් බලා ගන්න අපේ ඒකකය.
Residents of the Ridhi Mali at the Kalukale village, whose homes were damaged in landslides, are temporarily residing at the Karandagahamada school. Sahana Yathra is also scheduled to provide assistance to them. The MTV MBC head office premises and the Depanama Broadcasting Centre remain fully operational, coordinating and facilitating the relief distribution. This is what Mahendra Amarasuriya, former chairman of the Commercial Bank, had to say.
කුණවට්ටුවට අහුවෙලා ගම්මුතුරු යට වෙලා එන්න මිනිසුන්ට මොන කරන ආධාර ලබා දෙන එක ඉතාමත් වටිනා ව්‍යාපෘතියක්. ඒ ව්‍යාපෘතිය අනාගතයේදී සාර්ථක වේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
The Sri Lanka Army continued to provide unwavering support to the Sirasa Shakti Sahana Yathra, ensuring the smooth delivery of aid to affected communities. Volunteers from various walks of life have joined hands with the mission, assisting in distributing aid to disaster-affected areas. The preparation and delivery of assistance at the Sirasa head office premises are carried out continuously from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. and everyone is welcome to contribute. The mission remains guided by a simple but heartfelt principle. Life is about people. Always for the people, with the people. The Sirasa Shakti Sahana Yathra continues its journey, unwavering in its commitment to help communities recover and rebuild.
Newsfirst with the people.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Namal Rajapaksa, says that while the nation unites to rebuild after the recent disaster, the current system is failing to function effectively.
Today, the people of Sri Lanka are coming together and working tirelessly to rebuild the nation after the recent weather disaster without any divisions. But what are those who claim to be opposition politicians doing? Today, in the Kalaoya area in Anuradhapura, parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa made the following remarks.
I will not try to compare how disasters were handled during the presidency of Mahinda Rajapaksa with how they are being faced today, because that cannot be done. We know that such a system is not functioning at present.
The People's Tomorrow organization convened a media briefing and made an appeal that the current disaster situation in the country should not be exploited for narrow political ambitions.
We can see groups attempting to exploit this disaster for political purposes in an extremely aggressive manner. They are trying to portray this disaster as something that is not entirely natural, but was a result of the negligence of those in power. Certain groups are using this disaster to instill unnecessary suspicion and fear among the public by raising questions such as whether aid was given on time or not. Those who in the past have politicized the country's problems to meet their own political needs are now coming forward to deliver lectures to us. They talk about traditions and practices of disaster management. We invite the opposition to look at the country's public issues from a practical standpoint and to engage constructively rather than trying to manipulate the disaster for political gains.
ඔතනින් එන්න. ඔතනින් එළියට එන්න ඕන විපක්ෂය. චන්ද්‍රිකා කුමාරතුංග
When Chandrika Kumaratunga donated 250 million rupees, certain people said that Mahinda Rajapaksa had no such fund. I ask you, when the Rajapaksas built memorial monuments for their parents from public funds, do you think they would have funds for the progress of the country and its people? What happened to the Helping Hambantota Fund? Now, individuals who were named by the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka as the destroyers of the economy are coming forward to assign blame on others. Antigen tests were available at very low costs, yet the same individuals whose characters were tarnished using these tests are now speaking about public suffering. Amid all this, it is clear that they have nothing to admit about their own helplessness. We never expected the government to present a relief package like this, but now the situation has moved forward and the work is being done.
In other local news, police have launched an internal investigation against the officer in charge of the Sapgaskanda police station. The investigation was launched into the manner in which the OIC of the Sapgaskanda police station handled the case pertaining to the vehicle accident involving MP Asoka Ranwala, despite instructions being given to follow standard procedure. Police stated that the intention of the investigation is to determine if standard protocol was followed in this case or not. The accident occurred on the night of the 11th near the Denimulla junction in Sapgaskanda when the SUV being driven by the MP collided head-on with a car after colliding with another motorcycle. 2 women and a 6-month-old infant who were travelling in the car were injured in the collision. MP Asoka Ranwala was arrested yesterday on the charges of failure to prevent an accident, reckless driving and causing injury. He was later granted bail after being produced before the Mahara magistrate. The UNFPA has launched an $8.3 million appeal to assist women and girls affected by Cyclone Ditwa, which caused floods, landslides and displacement across all 25 districts of Sri Lanka. Over 2 million people have been impacted, including an estimated 520,000 women of reproductive age, including 22,570 pregnant women and 193,770 elderly women. The appeal aims to provide life-saving sexual and reproductive health services, protection from gender-based violence and mental health support, including mobile clinics and essential maternity and dignity kits. UNFPA warns that with only 2.5% of the appeal funded, urgent international support is needed to prevent critical gaps in care for the most vulnerable. The Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka visited Kandy yesterday and reaffirmed that India will continue to support Sri Lanka while working closely with the Sri Lankan government.
The Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, paid homage to the chief prelates of both sects in Kandy yesterday. The Indian High Commissioner first visited the Mahanayaka of the Malwatu chapter, Most Venerable Thibbatuwa Sri Sumangala Nayaka Thero, to pay his respects.
In the current situation where there is a very difficult, catastrophic event that we are dealing with in Sri Lanka, I briefed them on the steps that India has taken and will be taking in the coming weeks and months, how we would be working together in a cooperative manner to not only what we have done so far in terms of providing relief and rescue efforts, but moving towards the next phase where we can rebuild people's life and, help with reconstruction and rehabilitation.
He then called on the Mahanayaka of the Asgiri chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Barakagoda Sri Jnanaratana Nayaka Thero.
A delegation of Sri Lankan Supreme Court judges observed proceedings at India's apex court during an official visit to New Delhi. A 10-member delegation of Sri Lankan Supreme Court judges, led by Chief Justice Preeti Padman Surasena, is on an official visit to India, where they observed proceedings at the Supreme Court in New Delhi. The delegation was formally welcomed by Chief Justice of India, Surya Kant, who described the visit as a significant moment, reflecting the strong judicial ties between the two nations. Sri Lankan Chief Justice Surasena sat on the bench as a guest justice alongside Indian Chief Justice Kant, while the visiting judges observed live hearings. The Sri Lankan judges were also briefed on India's digital court initiatives, including e-filing and case management systems aimed at reducing case delays. The visit is expected to strengthen judicial cooperation and support court reform efforts in both countries. Ministry of Crab recently unveiled the small island with the big heart, a glowing symbol of Sri Lanka's resilience, replacing the usual Christmas tree in the courtyard at the Dutch Hospital in Colombo.
The Colombo Dutch Hospital now features the small island with the big heart, unveiled by the Ministry of Crab as a glowing symbol of Sri Lanka's resilience, replacing the Christmas tree in the courtyard.
So instead of having our huge Christmas tree this year, we built a shining Sri Lanka with a heart. I think we are a small island with a big heart, and our people have gathered again to help each other in these times of trouble. The spirit of Sri Lankans, the resilience we have is something amazing, and I thought we should celebrate that this time and acknowledge that we actually are resilient people, and it's a people that puts Sri Lanka back together again.
The installation celebrates the unwavering spirit of the Sri Lankan people in the wake of the devastating cyclone and floods, highlighting the nation's generosity, sense of community and willingness to support one another.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
Valuable FD, the symbol of stability. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability.
In sports news, we start off with cricket. The Sri Lanka Under-19 team got off to a winning start in this year's Under-19 Asia Cup one-day cricket tournament. They achieved this by defeating Nepal in their very first match of the tournament.
In a Group B encounter of the Under-19 Asia Cup held in Dubai, Sri Lanka Under-19 secured a comfortable victory over Nepal with an exceptional bowling performance by Sathmika Senaviratne. After winning the toss, Sri Lanka captain Dimath Dinsara elected to field first. Sathmika seized the opportunity, dismantling the Nepal batting lineup and taking 5 wickets out of the first 9, putting the Nepal Under-19 cricket team under tremendous pressure. He received crucial support from Rasit Nimsara, Vigneshwaran Akash, Dulnet Sigera and Charmika Hinatikala, each claiming 1 wicket, as Nepal were eventually bowled out for just 82 runs. Chasing a target of 83, Sri Lanka reached the score comfortably, losing only 2 wickets in 14.5 overs. Sathmika Senaviratne was named man of the match for his outstanding effort. In another Group B match, Bangladesh defeated Afghanistan by 3 wickets. Afghanistan posted a target of 283 runs, but Bangladesh chased it down in 48.5 overs, losing 7 wickets along the way. All matches of the tournament are available live on TV1, part of the Maharaja Media Network, and online at www.sirasatv.lk.
Next up, we have news from the world of chess, where Sri Lanka's rising chess prodigy W.I.M. Devindya Oshini Gunawardena created history by becoming the first Sri Lankan to reach world number 1 in any global age category, topping the under-13 girls' world chess rankings.
Sri Lanka's Oshini Gunawardena has become the world number 1 in the girls under-13 age category, according to the FIDE rankings. The young star, who began her chess journey at Ferguson Girls High School in Ratnapura and later moved to Wycherley International School, Colombo, is currently coached by veteran trainer Akila Kavinda.
අක්ක කරනවා බලාගෙන ඉඳලා මට ආස හිතුණා ඊට පස්සේ මට අක්කා පළද්දන්න ඕන හින්දා තමයි මම ඊට පස්සේ චෙස් පටන් ගත්තා. මම 2020 අවුරුද්දේදී අකිලස්ගේ යටතෙන් පුහුණුවීම් පටන් ගත්තා. ඊට පස්සේ මම ජාත්‍යන්තර ජයග්‍රහණ කළා. මම පොඩි කාලේ ඉඳන් භාවනා කළා. ඒ භාවනා කිරීමෙන් මට කන්සන්ට්‍රේෂන් එක තියාගන්න පුළුවන් වුණා. හොඳට මේ ස්පෝර්ට් එකට කන්සන්ට්‍රේෂන් එක උඩ තියාගන්න ඕනේ. ඒකත් මට උදව්වක් වුණා.
එයා රත්නපුර ප්‍රගතිසන් උසස් බාලිකා විද්‍යාලය කෙනෙම ලැබුවේ. ඊට පස්සේ ජගත් කෙටලවල සර් සහ රසික සමරනායක සර් යටතේ වසරක චෙස් පුහුණුවීම් කළා. පාසලක් නැතුව මේ චෙස් වෙනුවෙන්ම තමයි කොළඹට ආවේ. අපි රත්නපුරේ ඉඳලා මෙහාට එනකොට අපි රත්නපුරේ සිදු කරපු සියලුම දේවල් අතහැරලා තමයි මෙයාලා වෙනුවෙන් අපිට කොළඹට එන්න වුණා. අපි කලේ සාමාන්‍ය රස්සා කලේ. මගේ මහත්තයා විතරයි රස්සා කරන්නේ. එතකොට අපි ගෙවල් කුලිය ගෙවාගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට තනි පුද්ගල ආදායමකින් එක කරගන්න ඇත්තටම අපහසුයි. මට රස්සාවක් කිරීමේ හැකියාවක් නැහැ. මෙයා සමග මේ ගමන යාමට සිදුවන නිසා.
Her rise has been powered by consistent international success, including becoming the youngest Sri Lankan to earn the Woman FIDE Master title in June 2024 after crossing the 1,900 ELO mark. Her achievements at such a young age are something Sri Lanka can be proud of as a nation.
And in the world of wrestling, it is the end of an era. WWE icon John Cena is set to step into the ring for the final time this weekend, bringing an end to one of the most successful careers in professional wrestling history. Branded "The Last Time Is Now," the tournament saw 16 top wrestlers compete for the chance to face Cena in his farewell bout.
What is the one quality that you possess that makes you think that you can walk out here and face the very best in the business? Ruthless aggression. What's your name?
John Cena.
The Doctor of Thugonomics!
Since making his WWE debut in 2002, Cena has spent more than 8,500 days in the spotlight, winning a record 17 world championships and becoming globally recognized for his signature "You Can't See Me" gesture. Beyond titles and catchphrases, his influence has reshaped the company, both inside and outside the ring. Despite criticism from sections of fans over his wrestling style, industry analysts widely credit him as a cornerstone of WWE's success during its peak commercial years. Brandon Thurston, editor and owner of wrestling business website WrestleNomics, described Cena as WWE's most significant economic force between 2005 and 2015, citing his impact on television ratings, pay-per-view sales, live event attendance and merchandise revenue. Cena's final match marks the end of an era for WWE, closing the chapter on a career that helped define modern professional wrestling and inspired a generation of fans worldwide.
That generates the emotion out of our fans like John Cena does.
Now, the highly anticipated final match will take place on Saturday night in Washington, D.C. during WWE Saturday night's main event. Now, for fans here at home, that will be at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Well, on that note, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you for watching. Good night and God bless you.